As the Walt Disney Company has been going down in flames and the video game industry apparently deciding to do the same, Nintendo has stood out as a beacon of hope for those wishing to see traditional values of the West preserved and saved, and to get to play another day of just normal video game fun. But Nintendo, suddenly they're caught in a controversy. DEI has them by the tail. We'll tell you what's going on and why it might not be swell in the house that Mario built. Hello folks, welcome back to the Pro Channel. We cover entertainment here each and every day. Doesn't matter if it's covered in pixie dust, doesn't matter if it's made by the brothers Warner, and it surely doesn't matter if it's coming out of the gaming industry. Oh, by the way, we'd like to tell you too that we have a gaming channel coming out that'll be covering gaming news. It's called That Game Place, and it's launching this month. So we'll be covering these sorts of topics there. If you want to go ahead and subscribe to That Game Place, feel free to do so. Today, though, that kind of content is right here, right now. We're talking Nintendo. And folks, as we dive into this conversation, I just want to make a point of clarification. Ladies and gentlemen, Nintendo has responded to what we're about to talk about. Nintendo apparently is pulling the DEI messaging and DEI text, phraseologies, all of that out of some of their documents in North America. We'll show it. And, right now, let's get to what caused all of this. And then we'll get there, okay? Hang tight. Let me bring on the panel. Let's talk right now. We're going to be talking about Nintendo for just a few folks. And we don't normally discuss a lot of Nintendo. At least we haven't in a while, because the Nintendo Cinematic Universe, while it's still in development, has not been making a lot of headlines. Nintendo doing great. But now, as of late, they've been in the crosshairs, let's say, of people like ourselves who say, what are you doing? Why are you damaging your brand? And folks, Nintendo needs to get a hold of this out of Japan and quiet whatever is happening in North America. This is an article out of thatparkplace.com. If you're not yet bookmarked to the website, well, you should be. And it's by John F. Trent, editor-in-chief extraordinaire. It says Nintendo of America manager James Wong describes gamers opposed to wokeness as bigots and previously encouraged racism against the pale people. Look how I've learned how to navigate YouTube. Hi, YouTube. James Wong, a content production systems manager at Nintendo of America, declared gamers who rightfully oppose wokeness in video games as angry bigots. He previously called for and encouraged racism against pale people. Wong's comments came in the wake of ex-user Esco Cochise, or Cochise, who knows, questioning the current crop of video games, asking, so if it ain't DEI and corporate BS, why do modern games suck complete cheeks compared to the past? Are you defending the state of the industry? You know, when it's in the article, you got to read it, folks. Ex-user Airbagged responded, writing, basically, you get it, you can read it. And here we've got the response. Wong responded to the comment, writing, it feels like all these angry bigots were better people before their con idols gave them terms they should get mad about, when those terms are concepts that have been around forever. He then added, you mean this thing I like from 2000 is woke? Always has been. Jonas, walk us through this controversy with Nintendo. You understand this quite well as there was a Nintendo reveal yesterday. What do you got on the docket for this news item?
Are we talking about the 1,000-year door and this entire situation where they have now retranslated the game?
Sure, absolutely, because this is sabotaging Nintendo's continued dominance of the video game industry. This has the potential to send Nintendo into Disney territory, not a place they want to be. And I think that they'll get their arms wrapped around this and get it quieted and stopped. But what do you think?
I think just to give a little recent history for this company right now, Nintendo has resisted wokeness for a while, either by intention or by the nature of being a Japanese company that has no interest in Western crazy ideologies. It's really just not something that is on their radar. So when things like the Western localizers, like the ones that are in Redmond, Washington, specifically the Treehouse segment of the company, there's a literal department or organization within Nintendo called the Treehouse that does localization. It hasn't been a problem until more recently. In 1,000-Year Door, there is a character, and there have been characters kind of like this in Nintendo games for a very long time. There is a character that is a boy that dresses up as a girl. It is a very specific thing in Japanese culture. sometimes referred to as a trap, but it is not a person who has an identity issue. It is a person who says that they are a boy and that they dress up as a girl. This is a character named Vivian, who is a ghost, by the way. So that adds a little tragic extra layer to it when you think about what they ended up doing with the character. Another example would be Birdo all the way back in Super Mario Brothers 2. Birdo is a boy that dresses like a girl, has a big pink bow. Sorry, Birdo is pink, probably a blue bow. When they retranslated Thousand Year Door for American audiences here, when they did the remake of the game, instead they take Vivian and say that Vivian was a girl all along, and that Vivian's sisters bullied her. Again, I'm quoting here. And so they've changed it from being something with, I want to say, clear gender lines into being an identity issue that talks about bullying and talks about, no, in fact, Vivian feels like Vivian is this. And so everyone else just needs to admit that Vivian is this. I'll also add that adds the fact that Vivian is a ghost and therefore has passed away. That adds a whole other layer to this entire thing. So we finally have the evidence of them bragging about doing this on the American side of things, pushing Nintendo on the Japanese side to make these changes, to change the original work in a game that is very much intended for kids.
So this is a extremely bad idea for Nintendo to let the North American wokesters twist their arm into doing these things. But this Wong fellow, and we'll remove that from the screen. This Wong fellow, though, is indicative of what's happening. Erica, could you walk us through what you think in terms of Nintendo and the danger that they face if they choose to go into this Disney woke path? And make sure to unmute. There you go.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yep.
Okay, good. I have a hard time believing that in Japan, they're going to be okay with this, just having lived there for the short 3 years that we were there. Culturally, they're very traditional. I'm surprised they haven't already shut it down or aren't attempting to. Then again, we're not over there to know what is going on behind scenes overseas, but this is really problematic. Just like Mickey Mouse and the Fab Five and Tinkerbell, Nintendo, the Mario Brothers, and those characters have a huge following with the same demographic. So yeah, if they don't get
what a tremendous point, Erica. Erica, you're exactly right. Nintendo's not doing this with some sort of periphery property. It's the Mario Brothers franchise that they, it is in line with Mickey Mouse. Like, this is the icon of Nintendo that you don't want to mess with.
Yeah. It's one of the biggest icons in Japan too. Everywhere you go, you see, if it's not the Hello Kitty brand, then it's a lot of the Nintendo characters and brand you see everywhere. I'm curious as to how long this is going to last. And another thing I've been wondering is Japan going to send?
I think
we're having a little bit of we're having a little bit of an audio issue here. You cut out there.
Just a connection issue. No worries, Erica. Nothing on your audio side.
Yeah.
But let's hand it to Paulie for a minute. Paulie, do you think that Do you think that Nintendo will let their premier product at the same time that they are getting ready to launch this NCU giant, movie after movie? Do you think they'll let it turn into Star Wars and what Star Wars has done with wokeness, or you think Japan is going to say no, we're not doing this? Which way do you think this goes, Paulie? Who wins on this?
I don't know the politics behind it. I would hope that Japan puts its foot down and they stay clear of this. That they can see where there's been disasters. I'm not a gamer. What I from my little knowledge, I know that gamers are nothing but passionate, but never exclusive.
Now, Paulie, you've played a game or two before in your life. What did you play back when the arcades were a thing? What'd you play?
Oh God, I mean,
you've at least played Tetris. Come on, what do you like?
Asteroids, Centipede, all the
What about
stand-up,
Galaga?
the old,
Are you a
all
Galaga man?
classics.
the old school stand-up ones, man.
Which is better, Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man?
Oh, Miss Pac-Man, but I
Oh,
love
definitely.
Asteroids.
Man.
See,
I
we
love
can be
that.
Say
friends
fancy.
now. This is good. This is very good.
You're just a retro gamer, Paulie. You're a closeted retro gamer. We've brought that side of you out now.
On the way home from elementary school, there's that corner market that had those games in there, and we'd go in there, man. Oh yeah.
See, for me, it was the Ninja Turtle arcade. That's where I spent a bunch of quarters. But now that was
That's
a
an
few years
entirely
after that.
different era, Pro. That's not fair.
Sorry. Listen, I love them all. They all belong in my arcade headcanon, okay? In my imaginary arcade, every one of them is there. Erica, what do you think about who wins this? Do you think that the wokesters in North America are going to have a big enough push to get Japan to start introducing some of this just, on the fringes? Or do you think Japan is going to recognize that actually the entire cultural pendulum has shifted away from woke and hard?
I don't know. I mean, I could answer that better if we were stationed in Japan, and I could at least kind of answer a little bit of that. But I really don't know what's going on out there now these days. I would hope that Japan's consistency and being steadfast in their traditions and honoring a lot of like the nuclear family, for example. I don't think that's really going away. I really have a hard time believing that the woke is really going to take over. But we also live in a world where it's just like you just never know anymore nowadays. Just when you think, oh no, this isn't going to happen, you're slapped in the face. Like, oh, well, so much for that idea. It's really hard to say. I hope not. I hope Japan has been a silent observer, and I have seen some mini clips in the news that's been translated where some of the Japanese news media have been mocking and making fun of the Americans, like the woke stuff, especially when it comes to gender identity. So that much I have seen recently in the last few months. But as Nintendo, as a company, I don't know. I feel like when you're getting into corporate, sometimes that can just change. It's just different. I don't know.
Absolutely. Well, according to Grums, who his real name is Mark Kern, he's the guy who's essentially responsible for bringing World of Warcraft into the world and then bringing it back again later. One of the big creative forces in the history of video games. He is out there saying, and by the way, we would love to have him back on the show sometime. We'll try to do it. But he's out there saying Nintendo has quietly dropped the DEI language from their localization job postings. We're having an effect. At the very least, they're not comfortable virtue signaling this anymore. Real change next. Jonas, I'll let you put the bow on this one. Where do you think this is all going, especially in light of Nintendo's major announcements yesterday?
Today, this morning, actually. So for those of you who aren't aware of it, there were a lot of announcements this morning, and I'll reverse the order here for you, Pro, just a little bit. Big stuff for Nintendo Switch announced today. Like there's a big focus on Zelda, Metroid, Four Swords, and Zero Mission getting added to Nintendo Switch Online. A lot of nostalgia. Perfect Dark 64 is coming to Nintendo Switch Online. These are things that, if you're not into video games, then they probably don't matter to you. But a lot of remakes, a lot of nostalgia. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, more remakes and more pushing back. And finally, we have another mention of Metroid Prime 4, which has the super generic tagline of like Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, but it's Metroid Prime 4. This is all pushing back to an earlier era of Nintendo. And like Disney, Nintendo is a company that trades on nostalgia a lot. They don't push forward a lot. It's not something they're known for. They do introduce a new IP every now and then. But for the American side of the company to screw up this globally popular product because they want to try to say that this is marketable to Americans, to put all of this stuff in here, I would say that it is market negligence to try and push all of this stuff to say, no, this is what everybody wants. They're going to give you more money. No, they're not going to give you more money. It's going to cut your market in half because the woke people, they will buy this product because it is a good product. And the people on the anti-woke side, for lack of a better term, will also buy the product because it's a good product. But if you make it woke, then all of a sudden you'll have a situation where parents are looking at, by the way, they're putting Zelda on the front of a Zelda game. Scroll back up. This right here, this is an extension, much in the same way that Majora's Mask was an extension of Ocarina of Time. Zelda is getting an extension on the Link's Awakening remake that they did for Switch. These are all things that can be pleasing. They can read well to feminism. It's probably going to be a good game regardless of who the main player is. By the way, Metroid Prime 4, obviously a female lead character. And she's, for lack of a better term, she's a BA. This is all stuff that Nintendo is doing all the right things, but they're not doing the right things politically for this group. If they want to destroy their American audience, by all means, let the localizers go nuts. All of the people out in Redmond, Washington that are doing these translations, per capita, whatever, demographically, they're going to make it palatable for that West Coast audience, that super hard left Coast audience. Sorry, West Coast, or Freudian slip there. I don't think that's the right thing for Nintendo. And if they want to keep making money, they need to market to everyone. They need to learn the lesson from Disney instead of destroying their company and learning it 15 years from now.
All right, folks, so we told you about the Nintendo DEI stuff. Nintendo now pulling much of that DEI commentary from their official documents. We've got that up on screen for you to see right here. And my, oh my, wouldn't it have been great if Disney had done this so long ago? They could have prevented so much damage. Nintendo seems to be wise enough to do that, and that's phenomenally good for investors, for the Japanese economy even, when it comes to Nintendo. So we salute them. Simply because we think that DEI, as it is currently constituted, is actually aimed at being anti-meritocratic. How's that for a word, folks? It doesn't believe in merit. It doesn't believe in you being rewarded for what you do. It believes in you being rewarded or subjugated based on things you cannot choose. You were born with them. And we don't like that. We think that's a bad idea for everyone of every background, ultimately. So, hopefully Nintendo will not do that. We think they might avoid it. You tell us, though, in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Folks, like, share, subscribe, and as we said, drop a comment down below, but also click it, stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. If you're not yet subscribed to @ThatGamePlace, content is coming later this month, being headed up by Culture Casino and Jonas J. Campbell. Yes, Culture has officially joined the team here behind all we do, and we're happy to have him not just as a guest on the channel, but as a true collaborator. You love him, we love him. Culture's one of the greatest out there, flat out, and we cannot wait to see what's coming. All right, folks, we'll bid you adieu for now. It's game over here, but don't worry, we'll restart 3 times a day. New gaming on the way, in the way of videos. Folks, like, share, subscribe. See you real soon. Keep learning, keep growing, keep having fun, and keep playing too.